Yes, ladies, we're just going to go over symptoms of low progesterone, which is the dominant hormone in the second half of your menstrual cycle. What we can see, what are the possible causes, what needs testing, what you can see alongside it, and how we go about fixing it. It's quite a complex topic, so I'll just give a simple overview, and then if anyone has any questions, just give me a message. What I'll do is I'll be attaching on the slides over on Insta just a couple questionnaires of the symptoms of what we can see with low progesterone and some hypothyroidism, which can seem to accompany one another when you're experiencing these things. So, like I said, progesterone is the dominant hormone in the second half of your cycle. It is basically it's progestation, which basically means if you're pregnant or been made pregnant, gestation is basically just the process of making a baby. So in this point, we see more of your hunger signaling go up. So basically you've got more of an appetite and you can overconsume on your calories, which basically would be facilitating the growth and support of a new baby child. So that's the dominant hormone. It's basically just to do what it says on the tin. Look after your kid if you've got one. Right. So if you're experiencing the symptoms of what I've put on one of the slides, just let me know, or I'll show you how to test it, etc., etc. What's the cause of low progesterone? Well, it's multifactorial, but a few things that we can point to is stress. Excessive stress is a killer of the menstrual cycle and makes you feel this way. It's basically through your thyroid hormone and affects just your menstrual cycle, which is not great. Another thing can be birth control, as the fact is birth control is basically like steroids, and as we know, with steroids, if you're taking testosterone, which is a typical steroid, it shuts down your natural testosterone production, and that's why you see lads balls get smaller, because their testosterone is not being produced. Similarly with birth control, you're taking hormones that are not natural to your body, therefore your body stops producing its own natural hormones. And normally what we see with birth control, it's not bioidentical, so it's not the same as your hormones, they're slightly different. It would be like you might see something on your packet like it's a progestin rather than a progesterone, so it's a synthetic or a fake progesterone, which just doesn't mimic what happens in your body and what you actually need. Similarly, we have it with xenoestrogens, so this could be your BPAs and your plastics, your pesticides, unfiltered water, etc. And xenoestrogens basically mimic a normal estrogen molecule in your body, but they're fake and they cause excess estrogen and therefore low progesterone, which again you'll see on the symptoms. And also poor gut health. So if you're constipated, for example, what can happen is basically the way your body gets rid of hormones and excretes anything that it's processing is through two phases. It's called liver detoxification 1 and 2, phase 1 and 2. And basically it's you either excrete your hormones through your wee poo. Now if you're constipated, what happens, your body is basically reabsorbing the hormones and causing hormone imbalances. So it is important that we focus on your digestive health also. And what would your digestive health look like? It'd be basically no or minimal farting, bloating, etc. And if you check the Bristol stool chart, which I'll attach on the slides, you're sitting between 3 and 4 on a Bristol stool chart. Now, if you do have the symptoms listed, there's a couple tests that you can do that we'll point to. First off is blood tests, and the next is a Dutch test with a certain blood test. So we'll run through the comprehensive blood panel that you need to get if you want to have an action plan for how to fix your hormones. So what you'd want is a complete blood count, a complete hormone panel, a comprehensive metabolic panel, a lipid panel, so basically cholesterol, etc., an iron panel, we know what that is, a complete thyroid panel. Doctors will probably just run a TSH, and that's not good enough. We need TSH, T4, T3, RT3, TPOAB, etc. And if he's not giving it you, change your doctor. Or you can just go private for your blood tests. A complete liver panel, including EGFR, all that shit, HbA1c, and a vitamin D25 hydroxy. Basically, that will show you everything that you need to know in terms of how you're gonna fix it. I'd advise typically a better and more accurate test is a Dutch test, which basically shows you all of that, but more accurately, and a thyroid hormone panel on a blood test separately, as the Dutch test doesn't show that. So, after reviewing your blood work, there might be a few phases of treatment that you go through, so depending on what symptoms that you have. So say we have digestive issues, hypothyroidism and low progesterone, which can easily happen. The main things that you have to focus on is a complete diet with all micronutrition covered. That's basically just supporting your body to optimally function as best as possible and deal with anything that's going on. A complete dedication to stress lowering lifestyle. So if you train, it's no training to failure, max training 3 times a week with moderate loads, and your only formal cardio is walking. There's no hits, there's nothing like that, something that's going to just fucking stress your body out massively. To also lower that stress, what we can do is take adaptogens, which are just basically herbs in supplement form. Something like an ashwagandha or a rhodiola rosea. All of these can be found typically on Amazon. And they're basically to lower your stress and get yourself into, basically, you have your rest and digest or a fight or flight part of your nervous system. You're either in one or the other. If you're taking your adaptogens, we're trying to get you in snooze town, rest and digest. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Also, typical deficiencies we see are magnesium, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, and B12. So supplementation with them all would be perfect. Also, for bringing up progesterone, what we would use initially is a Vitex or a liposomal chasteberry. Same thing. Every day for the second half of your cycle, which basically the idea is to bring up progesterone. As we need progesterone high in the second half of your cycle, we don't need it so high in the first half, so supplementation during the second half of your cycle is essential in that point. If you aren't bleeding at all, or if you're not menstruating, the way to know when you are ovulating and when to start supplementing with chasteberry is by taking your body temperature every morning and tracking it. And as soon as it goes up, bang, the egg has dropped. You have ovulated and it's time to start taking. Okay, and if that doesn't come back on your blood work after we've checked it after a period of time, we can increase it by using something called Bezwekin, which is basically a stronger version of chasteberry. Similarly, we can use a supplementation of DIM, which is to help with estrogen metabolism, which basically means, you know, like I said, if your digestion's not on point, you will be struggling to metabolize estrogen, which can cause this imbalance in your hormones between estrogen and progesterone. Therefore, we want to support estrogen metabolism, and we can support that by using DIM. And if you have digestive issues, a simple starting place is to go with a low FODMAP diet, which can be just found on Google. You can literally just type in low FODMAP foods and high FODMAP foods, learn what to delete and what to eat. And basically lower any foods that cause you any gastric upset or digestive stress. Anything like high in histamine, again, which you can just Google high histamine foods and low histamine foods and just go from there. That'd just be starting points, and it'd be a complete dedication to the low stress lifestyle is the main thing. But yeah, drop me a message if you want any help with it on more direction. Yeah, hope that helps.